Hello, my name is Martin. Welcome to another little WeaselWood Furniture project. In this project I go ahead and building a bathroom cabinet with a freestanding sink on top, similar to mine that I have upstairs, like this here. But a bit different because I use different materials and give it a different color theme. So for the cabinet itself I use this grayish wood here, and the deck plate where the sink is standing on is going to build out of Corian again. In recent projects I like to use Corian. It's a nice material to use for something, at least in bathrooms. It's very rigid and undestroyable. And for the deck plate itself I want to give it a kind of floaty look between the cabinet and the deck plate itself. So I use this MDF plate here, cut it on a bit of an angle here on the edges, and paint the edges in black. So and put this between the Corian deck plate and the cabinet. So this give it kind of shadow gap, and I hope this will look pretty good, hopefully. So we'll see. So I go ahead and start with the MDF plate and the cutting of the Corian plate and the painting of the MDF of the edges so that the paint can dry while I do different things. So let's get started. So now before I can paint this edge here, I need to sand it to get it as smooth as possible. For this I use this any kind of wood or something, whatever has flat and hard surface, to get it as straight as possible without rounding the edges. If you use a sanding sponge or something along those lines, you would round the edges further than the straight surface. So if you use a hard piece of wood, in the best case you use some hardwood, whatever, you get a straight edge without any roundings. So that's the thing I was looking for, and now I start with an 120 sandpaper and then finish it with a 240. This should be sufficient because I go ahead and prime it with an MDF primer and then paint it with the black spray or whatever. So. So now sanding is done. Let's go ahead and start with the painting. Time to paint! While the primer is drying, I start and go ahead to cut the deck plate out of Corian. I already prepared my saw here with a special saw blade. It's a flat tooth, trapeze tooth saw blade with 96 tooth. That's special blade for exact and smooth cuts, especially in this kind of material. So this should give nice results and nice clean cuts. And so yeah, go ahead and cut this thing to size. For the next step, I prepared my router table with a 45-degree bevel cutter and give this plate around the 3 open sides a nice 45-degree bevel on the up and down side. Now I start with the assembly of the cabinet itself. Shouldn't be that big of a problem. I use my domino jointer for this and some 5x30mm domino dowels. Now let's give the glue a bit time to dry and then we can go ahead and mount the doors. So now I can go ahead and drill the 35mm holes for the hinges in the doors. So I go ahead and mark them. have our hinges. Fit perfectly. In this case I'm using the Bloom hinges with the integrated soft close function. Those are pretty nice hinges, I like them. Always use the Bloom one. There are also others on the market, but yeah, it's an Austrian company, so I use Austrian products. Like it so far. In this case I haven't positioned them somewhere specially because I haven't mounted the mounting plates on the cabinet. So I started with the hinges and then mount the mounting plates inside the cabinet as I hold the doors in place. Otherwise, if you have the 32mm grid where you can mount your mounting plates on, you have to position your hinges where those mounting plates are. But in this case we don't have a grid, so put it somewhere where you want it and match it with the mounting of the mounting plates. So, one done, second one to go. So the primer is dried on the MDF. Now it's kind of rough feeling, so before I spray it with the black, I go ahead and give it a nice touch with the sandpaper. I have a 400 grain wet sandpaper. Give it a slight sanding, and then I go outside and spray it black. I don't do this on camera, but you know how to spray something. So now let me sand it a bit. So while the paint is drying, I start with the sanding of the Corian. I start with a 240 on the edges to remove the marks from the saw blade and from the router. Then I finish it with a 1000 grain wet paper on the edges, and as final finish I go over with a Scotch Brite, with a fine Scotch Brite with the rotary sander. So now this should work. On this plate is not that much to sand, so I go ahead and make it with the hand sanding sponge. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. So next step, we have to glue the Corian plate on the MDF ground plate. Now for this kind of jobs I'm using my contact glue. That's the best glue for this kind of purpose. Put a thin layer on all two parts and then stick the two parts together. But be careful, because if they're together, they stay together forever and a day. Now the Corian, we use some alcohol or something to remove all the grease and the dust, and the printing as well, as it seems. And then I go ahead and put some glue on. Now wait, before I do this, I want to mark me the position where this plate should sit later on. as mentioned, if it's on, and it stays on. So now I let it dry for a few minutes till it's touchable, and then we put these two things together. So now a few minutes later, the glue is almost dried. Now the great moment. Now give it a bit amount of pressure, then they should be in good shape. So the bigger the pressure, the better the gluing joint. So now let's wait for a few minutes and then it should be okay. Now meanwhile, while the glue is drying, I can remove the clamps on this part here and start to mount the mounting plates for the hinges. And also, what I have to mount is, again, this is a furniture without any handles. So we have these tip-ons here with the appropriate holder. And this will sit here in the middle of the cabinet for all two doors, one for the left, one for the right. So I have made me a jig for this kind of stuff with the appropriate holes in the appropriate teeth, and I use this to glue drill the holes and just screw the holders for the tip-ons on, and we're ready to go. They're also pretty easy to mount, just 2 screws. On the ground plate. Just snap on the housing for this thing and put the lid on itself in. So now you can see as you close the door and you push the door again, and it will snap out, and you can grab it and pull it open. They're also available in different colors. I presume it's black, this grey here, and white. Whatever matches your color theme of the furniture. So, and we have this plates here that goes on the door, which holds it in place via a magnet. So here's a little magnet in the front, this will hold the door as it's closed and open. And also you can adjust the depth, how wide it's go out. So you have a nice and smooth straight line here on the edges. So the fine adjustment of the hinges have to be done on the side. So we'll skip this for now, and yeah, I wait for the glue to dry and then we follow to the next step. So the glue should have been dried by now. Now let's remove the clamps and mark the positions where the sink should go and the I don't know how it's called, the water outlet. Should Google that. So now in this case we have the sink here sitting in the middle of the board, 20 centimeters from the back. It's just a 42 millimeter hole. I don't have a 42 millimeter. I guess I have a 45 millimeter drill or something. So I put here the 45 millimeter drill, 45 millimeter hole for the sink itself, and here will go the water fountain. I don't know how it's called exactly in English. Should Google that. So I have made me. This should have a distance of about 19 centimeters. So I've made it this line here with the 19 millimeters distance, 19 centimeters distance. Sorry, not millimeters. Then I made these two markings the same distance here and here, and then I draw a line between those cross and those cross, and so we have exactly aligned these 3 points. So this should be exactly in 45 degrees from the sink in the right hand behind corner. So this should be a 35 millimeter hole. So let me go over to my drill press and drill those 2 holes, and yeah, then we can put it on the cabinet itself. We also have to drill the holes into the cabinet itself, but that's later. So now let's drill the deck plate and then we'll go to the next step. So now here we have it. Now let me drill some holes into the deck plate, or in the cabinet itself, to fix the plate to the cabinet, and the holes for the sink and for the fountain. Now the holes in this plate for the sink and for the fountain will be a bit bigger than the ones in the deck plate itself, because you have these nuts to fix these things, and they are a bit bigger than the tube itself. So we'll do a little bit bigger to have enough space. You won't see it from underneath anyway. So yeah. So for the last polish of the Corian deck plate itself, I have my sander here with the Scotch Brite, with the fine Scotch Brite, and as last bit of polishing I go over with this, and then you should be pretty finished. Give it this nice matte finish. I like this pretty well, and looks pretty sharp and a nice uniform and solid surface. So yeah, with this I think we're pretty much finished with this build. Like the tip-on doors, and this black shadow gap looks pretty sharp. I hope the customer likes this as well. Again, the sink will be the same as on my furniture, as you can see here in the corner. Also, I don't know wherever I put it. Yeah. Now, leave me some comments. How do you like this build? Give it a thumbs up if you do like it, and have a nice day. Bye!